Oh hey, didn't see you come in. Hi, I'm Matt, I'm a story writer and world builder, and I like video games. And I know a thing or two about medieval culture. And I noticed that shields in Valheim are all wrong. If you've seen my previous video, you know that I love this game. If you haven't, don't worry, you don't need it to understand this one. But this is a brand new channel after all, so I would appreciate if you helped me grow by watching it, and if you like it, share it, subscribe, and all the good stuff. In that video, I stated that Valheim is art, and in many ways it feels realistic and immersive, even though there's a lot of fantasy elements. The devs have created something amazing, and I don't want to come down on them too hard, but we can't deny the fact that someone definitely didn't do his research. Today I want to point out what's wrong with the shields in the game, and there's a lot. But I don't just want to cry on the internet about something. Instead, I want to provide a solution for everything I criticize. So for the off chance that the devs noticed this video, maybe they will find the time to fix some of the problems. So here we go. For this video I got the help of Roland Warzecha, who has studied medieval culture, archaeological finds and the old fencing treatises to recreate how sword and shield would have been used back in the day. And it looks quite different from what Hollywood wants to make us believe. It even looks very different from HEMA, historical European martial arts, which is way more aggressive. But I'll get to that in a different video. For now let's focus on shields. I think I'll get everything right, but bear in mind that I'm by no means a professional at anything really, so feel free to fact check me, and if you think I'm wrong, put it in the comments and I will have a look at it. Alright, so shields. I have gathered behind me an assortment of shields that I think are worth talking about. I will start with the round shields and go through all of them chronologically. So the first one we're gonna have a look at is the simple wooden plank shield. It doesn't look like much, and people on Reddit said I wouldn't be able to make out any details anyway because of the game's graphics, but I see so many problems. First of all, it's way too thick. If you've ever built a shelf or something, you know how heavy wood can be. And we're talking real wood planks here, not compressed sawdust from IKEA. Viking shields need to be as light as possible to pull off all these fancy moves. In fact, they could be as light as 3 kilos. That's only 6 pounds. So for all of this video, keep in mind that shields should be as light as possible because this is gonna be a theme and it will make you laugh at some shields for sure. Also, 3 kilos already factoring in the boss and... oh wait, we don't have a boss. That's not very Viking. If we want to be historically accurate, we should have one. And even if we don't care about history, we should have one, because it creates more problems on the back of the shield. So let's turn this around. What is that handle? I hate it. Not only is it in between the planks, which I don't know how that should work, but it's also literally just a pot lid handle. Normally you would have one long handlebar covering all the planks, strengthening the whole construction. But since there's no hole in the middle, with the boss on the other side, there's no space for your hand to fit in. Now, there are multiple ways to fix this, but I want to point out one more thing before we fix this shield, so let's turn it around again. Another problem with this shield is that it's not spanned with anything. It's only a couple of planks, glued together, and that's it. When it's actually supposed to have leather on it. It didn't necessarily need to be leather, it could also be some variation of hide. For example, in this video Roland is using parchment. And it could also be linen, although there's not much evidence for linen to be used in the Viking Age. But coming back to our shield, anything would be better than nothing. So it neither has a solid backing nor a solid front side. This right here is such a weak construction, weather and rain would just gnaw away at it, and I'm pretty sure all the planks would just come undone by the first heavy blow to it. By the way, the game even contradicts itself here, because you need leather scraps to make it. This all feels like someone actually did the research and put it into the crafting system, but then along comes graphics guy and he's like, nope, couple planks with a handle, baby. So how do we fix this mess? First of all, we need to grind it down to half the thickness. Also an easy fix for the graphics guy. Then it needs a solid backing. So if we keep this stupid handle, it will just be 2 bars. Because honestly, I can see this shield existing like this if there's something to hold it together. Again, this would be an easy fix for everyone. If we want to be nitpicky about Viking culture, we need a hole for the hand and a boss on the other side. I know we're not at the stage of the game yet where you can have a metal boss, but why not just carve one from a solid block of wood? Or maybe even flintstone. And now that we have a hole for a hand to fit into, we can also have a handle that's just serving as a crossbar, strengthening all the planks on the other side. So overall, this shield is a mess and it needs a redesign. Next thing we can craft is the buckler. As you can see, it's being a little diva, clipping through the table. So let's equip it and oh, it's clipping through my armor as well. This should be an easy fix for graphics guy as well. But let's just get rid of my armor for now. So, the buckler. I think it's actually the best shield in the game in terms of historical accuracy. First of all, it's very thin. This is good because bronze is a very heavy material. It's even denser and therefore heavier than iron. The shape is fine. It could even be a little smaller since they needed to be very lightweight, so you could hold them out in front of you together with your sword like you can see in this video. This leads me to the only complaint I have with the shield. You wouldn't actually fight with it. It should be made of wood rather than bronze, because bronze is expensive and harder to find, as any Valheim player would know. Bronze shields like this one were in fact made, but mostly for ceremonial purposes, as a status symbol or for decoration rather than fighting. Because bronze is heavy and thin like this, it would also deform easily. To fix this is very easy. You should have a wooden buckler with bronze nails and a bronze boss. In fact, I have an idea. This should be the first shield in the game, made from only wood and maybe wattle, maybe even carved from one solid piece of wooden plank, and then the second shield would be a targe with a bronze boss. There you go! Fixed it! Same material progression. Holy shit, I'm so good. I should be a game fixer. But still, the bronze buckler should stay in the game as it is, as a prestige object. A wall hanger basically. One more thing though, the stance is not quite right. You would hold it further out in front of you. But in my opinion, this is fine like it is, because to have different animations for different shields in the game would not be an easy fix, and also a little bit of overkill since the combat is very simplified. You can whack your enemy, you can block or parry or dodge your enemy, and that's it. So no need to get all fancy with fighting styles. Although, of course, I would really enjoy that. Well, in the end, you also have to think about programming effort versus effective value, so moving on. This is the Iron Banded Shield. At first glance, this is the most Viking-esque shield in the game, and I quite like the look of it. But again, it is way too thick. Just imagine how heavy this would be on its own. And then you have a solid iron band around it. Now, I'm not saying this hasn't been done. There are actually shields that have a copper lining, for example. Roland was kind enough to provide me with some examples. These are some shield finds from Torsberg and Illerup. And as you can see, they have a super thin copper band, or copper lining, I should say. And also they were repaired with copper in some cases. But the iron band that is around our shield seems way too broad and thick and would therefore be very heavy. Sure, it wouldn't be impossible to lift, but it would be very hard and tiring to do all these fancy moves with a shield as heavy as this one. And the last thing you want in a life and death situation is to tire out. We all know how the fight ends when you run out of stamina, don't we? And again, there's this pot lid handle. Like, why? We have a boss. This time it's inexcusable. I'm pretty sure this tiny handle would just come off over time. I demand this to be fixed. Just have a normal handle. Also, there's still no leather on it, it seems. Alright, last round shield before we move on to tower shields is the silver shield. And from an aesthetic standpoint, I love this shield, I really do. But of course it is way too thick again and has no leather, yada yada yada, you get it. But then you have these cutouts on either side, which are questionable but a design choice I can get behind, and I like the look. You could probably be stabbed around your shield more easily, but same goes for stabbing your opponent, so that checks out in my opinion. But everything else on this shield is utterly stupid. Why is there so much additional weight on the boss? This doesn't serve any purpose. These rivets, they don't rivet anything. And what's holding the snake? Is it glued on? We don't know. Here's the super obvious fix for this. The rivets should go on the other side, holding the snake in place, right? And what in the world is this grip? Why is it not center gripped? We have a boss. We are in a Viking game. Have center gripped shields, goddammit. But no, instead we get this silver grip, I guess? Even ignoring everything I just said, this is a bunch of bull. You would have straps of leather, cloth, or maybe even rope, but this? You could maybe get away with one grip like that and a strap, but two solid silver grips where you put your arm through one of them to grip the other one? I have never seen this in an authentic replica, no matter the period or region. Didn't they do any research? Okay, I got it out of my system. Just so you know, it's also the case with most of the tower shields, and I'm not gonna talk about this again. Just bear in mind that this is shit, and I'm not even gonna bleep that. Did I mention that silver is not only weak, but also heavy and expensive? They could have at least made the stupid grip out of wood. No wonder the silver costs for making this shield are so ridiculously high. But seriously, I get that there needs to be a progression in material in the game. But realistically, this would be a prestige object on account of it being too heavy with all these ornaments. It would be a wall hanger. Wait. Is that what this handle is for? For hanging it on the wall? We figured it out, guys. This isn't for fighting. It's for hanging on the wall. Thanks for watching. But seriously, let's fix this shield. First, make thinner. Then replace stupid handle with normal handle. Rivets go on the backside to hold the snake in place. And get rid of this excess silver around the boss. Done. Granted, it's a little effort for graphics guy this time, but I'm not saying they have to do all this. I'm just pointing out what's wrong to fight misinformation and of course for entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, let's look at some tower shields. And in case you're wondering, yes, I'm gonna skip over the black metal shield because it's just fantasy territory. It seems to be entirely made of metal. It will be around 50 kilos or 100 pounds. So you could never use it as a weapon. So let's establish black metal as a fantasy material that is probably very lightweight. Therefore, I can't really judge it. All I can say is that I think it's ugly. It looks like a frying pan with these handles and I want to make pancakes on it. But I can't because of these stupid chains that don't serve any purpose except for adding more weight. Maybe you could catch an enemy blade on them, but I don't think this is realistic because your enemy is gonna try to get around the shield and not hit the shield dead center because this does nothing. And guess what happens when you have a handle on the outside of your shield? Your enemy would just grip it, take control of your shield, and then it's useless. It's ugly and over the top, and I'm just gonna ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist. Alright. I said that I was gonna fix all the shields. So, this handle is by far the worst in the game. It doesn't even remotely go around my arm, it just clips through it. So, handle needs to be fixed. Go in the center, hand goes in the center, so you need to have a boss. And if you also desperately need those stupid chains on it, maybe just glue them on or rivet them on or something like that. But get rid of these handles, they just look awful. And I'm really bothered just visually by all the black metal stuff being green. But if that's what black metal is, oh well, then maybe just have a normal shield out of, say, core wood or fine wood and have a black metal boss and maybe a black metal band. Since we established it's very light, we could have a little more of it. So let's look at some tower shields. One thing up front. I hate tower shields, no matter the game. They are always oversized and ridiculous. Needless to say, this is no exception, so I might lose it and I apologize in advance. Let's again start with the first shield you can make in the game. The wooden plank shield, which is, in my opinion, the worst offender. As always, it's not spent with leather, even though you need it to craft the shield, and it's way too thick. But there is so much more wrong with it. Just look at it. Why did no one bother to make the planks have the same length? What are these black lines? Are they supposed to be gaps? They aren't actually in between the planks, so maybe the texture was just applied poorly to the 3D model. But guess what? Even if these black lines are supposed to be the gaps, that doesn't make any sense. These planks are supposed to be glued together. There can't be any gaps. So maybe these are gaps and the shield isn't actually glued together, then surely there must be something to hold it together on the backside this time. Nope! In fact, all you have on the backside is one single tiny lid handle that is not even in the center, and it just looks like a goddamn door. Who thought this would be a good idea? Have they ever picked up a large solid piece of wood? Have they ever assembled furniture? Try to fight with half a cupboard in just one hand. It's impossible. You can lift it for sure, but it is so unwieldy, you cannot fight with this. You probably couldn't even hold it up straight with an off-center handle like this. It would just strain your wrists so much. And also, if you hold it like this, you can't see. That's a problem. Be gone. Looks like a raft. Okay, how do we fix this hot garbage? First of all, we cut off the top so it's even length and we can actually see. Next, we will have no gaps in between the planks because it's glued together. We can't see that anyway because we span it with leather scraps. Then we will have a horizontal handle in the center because otherwise gravity will give us a very hard time holding it up straight. Lastly, we put 2 additional planks on it for stability, and of course it should be a lot thinner as all of the shields except the buckler. Whew, that was quite a lot. Sure doesn't get any worse than that. Oh no. This is the Iron Banded Tower Shield, and this is an abomination of a shield. I'm only gonna say one thing about this. The handle is inexcusable just from a graphics design standpoint. It's not in the right place for the hand, and apparently no one even tested this. This would be an easy fix, just move it up a little on the character model. Also, it's the same uncomfortable handle that we had on a silver shield again. Since I'm getting tired of saying how heavy these shields are, let's just do some maths for this one. Don't worry, I hate math too, I'll keep it simple. Assuming that I'm an average sized human of maybe 1.7 meters, because people were a little smaller back then, I would assume this shield is about 1.5 meters in height. Again, it's so big we can't even see over it. I would estimate it to be 60 centimeters wide, and it's so thick. This must be about 5 centimeters. We also know this shield is made of fine wood. We get fine wood from birches. So I used some online tool for lumber weight and put in the measurements, and for wood type I used air-dried European birch and got a total weight of about 30 kilos or 60 pounds. And we didn't even add the iron yet. Try just lifting 30 kilos with one hand, and not like a dumbbell, but like this. Actually, don't try it because you will probably tear some muscles in your arm and back. No matter how strong you are, you would not be able to hold this shield out in front of you for very long. You wouldn't be able to fight with this, and you would tire really fast. Just compare it to real life examples. Here's the Roman scutum. It's fairly thin, yet it weighs up to 5 kilos. Roman soldiers had to train to use it properly and still couldn't lift it very well. They would just hold it the way you would carry a bag of groceries to even be able to fight with it for longer. Next time you have a full bag of groceries, try to lift it over your head or hold it out in front of you for longer and see how long you can hold it. Feel free to put your results in the comments. Now imagine like 5 times that weight. Even the 5 kilo Roman scutum would be heavy enough so the soldiers wouldn't even lift it a lot. They would rather duck under it to defend from overhead blows, and that's also one of the reasons they wore head protection, because it was hard to raise the shield in time. Or just raise it at all if you're tired already. Another example of a big tower shield is found in a later period in Italy, the Pavese shield. Guess how they used it? They would just put it down and stay behind it, shooting crossbows. Tower shields were no everyday item. They were big, heavy, unwieldy, cumbersome and tiring objects, and they are misinterpreted in media, especially video games and movies. The last shield I want to touch on is the serpent scale shield. Now, serpent scales are a fantasy material, so we can't really judge the weight of that. This is a kite shield, which was kind of this shape, so that's fine. I also don't really mind the boss on it. Kite shields might have had bosses sometimes. We can see that in the Bayeux Tapestry, for example. And I think that's entirely possible that, for example, people who had an old Viking shield, they were used to it and they wanted to have that again. So if they got a new shield and they would use a kite shield next, then maybe they would just take the boss from the old shield and slap it on the new shield, because people often get stuck in their habits. But if we look at everything else in this shield, we see the same issue as always. It's way too thick and it has a stupid handle that should be just straps. It could maybe have one grip and one strap. I can totally see that working, and there were even finds of kite shields with straps around the neck. Or it could even have a center grip, because we do have a boss. Also, by fixing the grips, you would automatically fix the issue of the grip clipping through my arm on literally any shield that's not center gripped. But the overall shape is fine, and also the boss is fine because it can give you an advantage in fighting. So, to conclude. To fix the shields, the devs need to make all of them thinner except for the buckler. It would be the best if the fighting stance of the Viking would be altered ever so slightly, so you could just make all shields center gripped with a horizontal handle serving as a reinforcing crossbar. This would be the easiest fix. Also, please give us more skins that look less like they're just planks. We are using leather scraps after all. The tanning rack is sitting right there next to the workbench. We only need to cut it in shape, so please at least follow your own rules. Alright, so that turned out a little rant. Sorry, not sorry. I still love the game and I only want to see it improved. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. I certainly did. Leave a like if you learned something today. This is only my second video, so if you want to see me again, please help this channel grow and subscribe. And of course, like, comment and share, because this helps with the YouTube algorithm, so more people will see this video. Make sure to check out Roland Warzecha's awesome channel if you want to know more about swords, bucklers and Viking shields, and how to make an authentic Viking shield. And last but not least, you can follow me on Instagram for some dank memes and of course channel updates at MoonshineMuffinOfficial. And with that, there's nothing left for me to say except stay safe, have a great time, Muffin out.